What's really good, bozos, bullies, babies, brothers, backbreakers, bad and bougie? I don't got nothing else. Welcome to another episode of the Broadcast Boys Show. We are back and better than ever, as usual. I'm in studio. Brody's on vacation. Say what up, Brody.
I'm at the beach right now, looking hazy, but yesterday was truly what dreams are made of. Spent 6 hours in the beach
Amazing.
with 10 5 to 8-year-olds using me as a human jungle gym. I'm absolutely worn down.
I mean, that actually sounds like a blast.
It was so fun, but goddamn.
Today's a big day. One of me and Brody's favorite athletes of all time. One of the greatest to ever do it. Brody, let's introduce him.
Standing 6'5", 245 with an arm more golden than his smile, Superman with hang time is in the building, leaping over defensive lines in a single bound. He hit the Heisman, hit the folks, and hit your team with a stiff arm so hard their hopes went up in smoke. It's the pocket passing, body snatching, walking mismatch with the skills of Randall Cunningham and the physique of an Under Armour mannequin. The 2015 NFL MVP and the host of the Funky Friday podcast, Cam Newton.
Yes, sir. Cam Newton in the building.
Man, thank you for having me, man.
Obviously, your resume speaks for itself. What was your first growth spurt or moment on the field where you kind of knew for the first time, wow, these dudes really ain't fucking with me?
I don't think my mentality registered until I got to junior college.
Okay.
My dad had a contracting landscaping business, and I would do hard manual labor, sod, picking up trees, rolling the sod, plants, certain things, just natural strength. Right. So at that point in my life, I think physically it was 9th and 10th grade. So my 11th grade year, I was just, bigger than everybody. But mentally, I had to have the pitfalls of Florida to happen, the reality check.
Sure.
I wasn't as good as I thought I was. It didn't click mentally until I got to junior college, in my lowest part of my life, I would say.
When you're with Tim Tebow, in your mind, is there any way that you thought you could be better than this man? Or in your eyes, when you first got there, was he like a godlike figure to you?
Honestly, I always thought I was better than Tebow.
You got to have that confidence.
No, that. Yes, to your point, I'm agreeing with you. Like no lie, Tebow was so good, and the hype projected more. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, hold on, I do that every day, and then it's just like when Tebow does it, it's like hold on, what's really happening? But that's not to shade him. That's just to shade, or just to bring reality and perspective of that specific time. Let's remember, Tebow is probably, if not one of the greatest college football players to ever play. Not only with the resume, not only with just the persona, the Arm & Hammer clean, Lysol clean, just the
Amen.
You can't find no dirt on this guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And even being around him as long as I was, you still couldn't. It wasn't that I was probing, but who wasn't trying to find any dirt about Tebow?
Right.
And for him to be such a specimen, and it was just his leadership ability was unmatched. I've never seen nobody be able to have that personal and, kind of grit and grind. And I don't think the world was ready for a Caucasian guy, right, to have that bravado of, sheer
Yeah, he was 100% will.
Yeah, but he was a follower of, he was a disciple too.
Right.
So we've never seen that before. So seeing that, I was saying to myself, I know I'm better than him. But there was never an opportunity for me to showcase that in a way that could unseat him, And I remember I had a conversation with my dad, and I was like, I don't like where my mental is, because I'm in a situation where I'm hoping a person gets hurt for me to play.
Yeah, that's no good.
I was like, I got to leave. I need to leave, because I respect him so much that I know how hard he's working. I if I don't learn that from him, I'll be a fool. You see what I'm saying? Mm. And nothing a part of me, even though my confidence never was shot, it was like, man, I could do that too. You know what I'm saying? But it was the respect to say, I don't want to undermine his greatness by like wanting him to, get seriously hurt in order for me to play.
Nah, I totally get that because like on a team where Cam Newton is the backup, I mean that's got to be one of the most talented teams you ever been a part of, right?
Oh yeah.
Tim Tebow, because he puts in that work, I'm sure it was an easier pill for you to swallow. Because if you was backing up somebody who wasn't as good as you, wasn't putting in the work like you, didn't have the skill set, that would have been way tougher, I'm sure.
I'm grateful for that though.
Right.
So much of my success, especially at Auburn, was just a direct reflection of what I've learned up until that point. And a lot of what I've learned came off of what I've seen at Florida.
Right.
Being around Joe Hayden, being around the Carlos Dunlap, Major Wright, these guys, Lewis Murphy, Bubba Caldwell, Cornelius Saint, like these guys were gods, from their respective places.
For sure.
Percy Harvin, and seeing how they transition from being good from their high school and being good on the national stage is something that, I learned and not just talking it, but backing it up with on-field play.
Yeah, no, I do feel like your vision was definitely correct. It just took a few years longer for it to come to fruition, but the instincts were there.
You won a national championship in 08 at Florida, backing up Tebow. You went and you got yourself a JUCO championship at Blinn, and then leading Auburn to another one 3 years in a row. What was some of the things, and you talked about it a little bit already, but what was some of the things that you took away from your time at Florida, from your time at Blinn, in order to be able to be the player that you were at Auburn? Because that was one of the greatest college seasons of all time.
I look back at football and what it has done for me, and seeing a cycle repeat itself with even my children now, when I'm going to their football games and I'm seeing that it's not necessarily about personal kind of success, right? And I think it's, it's just the headspace that I'm in right now because of what I just recently seen. It's like I just leave where most parents want Lil Tay or Lil Baby, they want them to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I think it was so essential that my father taught me. It was about, son, the sooner that you realize how to win, the better off you start seeing the bigger picture, right? When I was in high school, my team was a basketball team, right? Or my high school was known for basketball. We went 32-0 and lost in the state championship. So I knew how I felt to win a lot. Rec ball, it was no different. We won championships after championships. That mentality went with me to Florida. Then, my second day on campus, they won the national championship. So it was like, okay, this is what winning feels like, right? And then obviously 2 years later, won another national championship. So as I'm going through different things and now I'm having more control at JUCO, I know it's not about personal accolades. It's more or less about winning.
Yeah.
Because winning is going to highlight so much, but more importantly, when you win, everybody's going to ask the question, how and why are they winning? That's when the personal accolades come, right? So it's not necessarily trying to be great at what you do. I think now for me, as I grew, especially going into, going upon Auburn and then trying to turn the franchise around in Carolina, my mentality was always to win, and if you won, people are going to be curious enough to how in the hell is this team winning? And then when you put a microscope to that team, that's when individuals kind of magnify, bigger than what they are, a la Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this team is winning so much. Why are they winning? They have an unbelievable quarterback, and boom, there you go. So when I learned that at that young age, I probably couldn't verbalize it, but now seeing and knowing what I know now, it's all about winning, but also being humbled by the fact that when you play a sport that requires 10 other people, including yourself, well, now it's 11 people, it's so many different determining factors to winning. A missed field goal, an offsides, a holding call, the discretionary of a pass interference being thrown by a referee.
You can only control so much.
It's so much. So you only can control what you can control, and that's all that you got to chance if that play or game is going to be successful or not. So when you put all that into play, the only thing that you can focus on is what you can do, right? So I think learning that at a young age and still going about my whole um, evolution of a player is what you got.
It's definitely the ultimate team game. That's how you barely see teams repeat or
Right.
teams get broken up with when they lose the Super Bowl. But you said that history repeats itself, and I feel like that definitely applies in sports too.
Mhm.
Brett Favre went to the Jets at the end of his career. Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets at the end of his career. The
Mhm.
Panthers select Cam Newton to turn around the franchise. The Panthers select Bryce Young to turn around the franchise. Now,
Mhm.
without your contributions and those that came before you of your style of quarterback, do you think someone like Bryce Young has a chance to go number one at his size set in, say, 2013, 2005? Or is it just a brand new game? Because I feel like we haven't seen someone of that stature be taken at such a high pick.
In any situation in life, it turns around in 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
Anything. You're talking about technology, you're talking about sports. Like look at the game of baseball, right? That game is not the same, for what it is now. Look at pitchers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing it in football with the running back position.
Yeah,
Now, who would have thought a tight end could be more respected than a running back?
that's crazy.
Back in 96, you know what I'm saying? Or 99, whenever Ricky Williams was, got the bag amongst picks,
Yeah,
amongst everything's, right?
Trading 5 first-round picks for him.
They wasn't doing that for no tight end. Now the Travis Kelce's comes, or the George Kittles, the Greg Olsons, everybody is trying to find how. But it started with Rob Gronkowski. Or I wouldn't say started, but Gonzalez,
Tony?
Tony
Tony. Yeah,
Gonzalez. Game of football is now turning into a matchup game, similar to basketball, right?
I was about to
And it
say.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter. However you look at it, it's going to change around 3 years. So if you're not hip to it, right, you're just going to get forgotten, or you're just going to have to up the antes as far as going along with the evolution.
and it's funny you say that because I was just thinking that about basketball and how much it's changed because there was a
Mm-hmm.
time where like big men were really, really valuable,
Right.
right? And granted, that's when Shaq was in the league and they needed to throw
Correct.
somebody out there to try and contain him. But big men were super valuable and defensive specialists super valuable.
Right.
But now if you in the league and you can't shoot, you're not
Right.
valuable to nobody. You know?
Or handle the ball.
Right. Exactly. You got to be
You
able
know
to
what I'm
do.
saying?
You got to. If you want to be a successful big, you got to have guard-like tendencies. You know what I
Correct.
mean? And similar to the NFL, how like players like Travis Kelce has really like changed that position
Mm-hmm.
in recent years.
It shows it's coming back around because we had the guard revolution, but now Nikola Jokic could be bringing back the slow lumbering big man revolution.
Yeah.
So like you said, every
Yeah.
few years it changes up. I don't know who the hell could guard him in the future, but we'll see about that. There might be someone out there.
You putting on for the big fellas.
I think it all started with the realization of we got to get us one of them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
whoever that player is, obviously the Jordan pandemic happened in the league where we were looking for dynamic guards, to come in and change the whole trajectory of a franchise. But to your point about Bryce, I have a talking head that's coming out, speaking towards the difference between um, making the emphasis to save a franchise rather than having the focus be I have to prove.
Yeah.
Right now, that prove can be very vague. It can be very discretionary to whatever you decide. I think I went into Carolina with the point to prove, right, to myself. Whatever else happened. But you see time and time again, athletes get thrusted with this unwarranted pressure
Right.
to save the organization, the savior. It always doesn't go that way, right? So we see it with athletes like the Johnny Manziels, right? The Baker Mayfields, the LeBrons,
Mm-hmm.
the Ichiros. It's just where we are in sports. But from the athlete, the Zions, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? The reality is, as the sole person or the sole entity, if you are able to check and tell yourself, I have to prove first to myself that I'm ready for this moment, right? rather than taking on, I got to save the city. I got to put the whole city on my back. That's too much pressure, bro.
Yeah, that's a
You know
lot.
what I'm saying?
It's a lot for a young guy to take on.
But I would tell anybody, especially specifically to Bryce, it's like, bro, prove to yourself first. And why and your standards are already high. You know, if you can prove to yourself that you belong, everything else gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, you said that your voice could never be as loud as the media's before. And I feel like a lot of those expectations are set by the media. Like you look at a Zach Wilson, granted he didn't perform the best. This man, he was drafted so high they barely gave him a chance.
Right.
I mean, I'm a Jet fan. I don't really mind, but just that limited expectation doesn't really seem too fair. You get 1 or 2 years and they're moving on to the next one.
If I was Zach, right, you have an opportunity to reincarnate what Aaron Rodgers was.
Right, yeah.
Because now if he sees this as disrespect, probably he doesn't now, and he probably would never admit it. But I'm looking at a situation where this could be the best thing for your whole career. Right? We see a situation like Josh Rosen. We see a situation like Jake Locker. Guys get burnt out when they weren't supposed to be thrusted that soon. Let's not forget, Aaron Rodgers had 2 long years, if not longer, to sit back and say, okay, I'm seeing how that legend is, what he's doing is right. I'm going to take some of it, remove some of it, but I'm gonna make it my own way. I see how he handles success. I see how he handles, the downfalls of the 4 interception games, the 4 touchdown games, the pressure of, being the focal leader, to lead a whole, village, so to speak. And coming out of high school or coming out of college, you don't necessarily have that time, because from day one, you're like, that's another thing that has changed. There's no prep time. We want Thanksgiving meals in 30 seconds.
That's
What I'm
right.
saying? Like, real talk. And it's not fair to the athlete, but it is what sports is. It's like, we want these athletes to come in and go to the NBA Finals year one. We want them to come in and go to the Super Bowl year one, or at least show some type of promise.
Right.
And it doesn't always work like that. You know what I'm saying? Because as humans, we need time to process the whole totality of what we're getting ourselves in. And a lot of times, what you may have gotten in Aaron Rodgers is not what you're going to get out of Zach Wilson. And the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, let's not forget, he wasn't even on the board on the first, second, or third, or fourth, or fifth, sixth round. Yeah. He had time to see an opportunity in Drew Bledsoe, learn. Granted, being around, arguably one of the best coaches of our time didn't hurt either, but learning that, and now you seeing the success that he has had, it's no wonder. But it took time. That's all I'm saying.
No, 100%. I feel like we live in this world of like everyone wants immediate satisfaction, and it don't often work that way. And but something you said that was interesting to me was the fact that these young players have opportunities, and most young players will go on to any team that there is. There's going to be an OG or a veteran on there that's been there a long time that they can learn from. Like, in your experience, like, how many times have you come across young players who, like, on both sides of the spectrum are like very much like following their OG and like really, really learning from them, and then the other ones who are maybe a little bit more cocky and kind of just like, you know what, I know what I'm doing, I'll figure it out on my own type of thing?
Discernment has its own perks, young or old, right? And what I mean by that is you have to discern a situation to at least know that you have to know better. Some guys get it, some guys don't, right? Meaning a rookie may come on and say, nah, I'm the first round pick. I don't need y'all. I'm rich. I don't need, like, they have this selfish mentality, and it don't matter how many OGs you got. Every team has that asshole that's like, bro, can't get right. Like, dog, bro, the meeting start at 8. You know what I'm saying? Why are you trickling in here at 7:59, 8:02? You know what I mean? Like, the good ones say, hey, bro, I see how you working. Hey, man, tell me how I can be better. Matter of fact, what's your morning routine?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, shoot, go get us Krispy Kreme. Matter of fact, go get me some McGriddles from McDonald's. And the good ones would be like, they'll take it as, okay, this is my initiation.
Yeah.
You know, it's training day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I always tell young guys, you only get 1 year to be a rookie. Embrace it.
Right.
Me being from where I was from kind of helped that because it allowed my antennas to be up. You know what I'm saying? Who's doing it right? Who's not doing it right? Hearing how people respect certain people when they're not around. And then now you start saying, okay, cool. I need to take that from that person, apply that. I need to be better with this, apply that, and then going about it and not being too proudful to ask for help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I feel like people who want success will find successful people and learn from them.
as soon as you realize you've learned a lot, you've learned nothing.
So on the field, Cam, you definitely embodied that Superman nickname, even took it to the literal level with the chest celebration. Now, between you, Shaq, and Dwight Howard, who do you believe is the real Superman?
Everybody wants to know.
Well, I'm going to go about it like this. First off, Dwight Howard from Atlanta. So Shaq first, Dwight Howard, then Bud. It is what it is, bro. Like, I remember there was something that came out where it's like, why can't it be multiple Superman? It's a lot of Spider-Mans.
No, that's what I was going to say.
It's a lot of universes out there, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. There's a whole multiverse out there of Supermen.
It's a metaverse.
Exactly.
You dig? So, look, the fact that somebody seen my talents and was like, bro, this guy is like Superman. It is one of many different things that is like, that's respect. You know, one of the coldest nicknames that I got was the dinosaur. You know what I'm saying? Trooper Taylor, one of the assistant head coach at Auburn gave me that nickname. Was like, bro, your talents are extinct. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you're able to do what you're able to do at your size, we've never seen it. I don't even know if we ever will see it again. But now you see, you know, the Richardsons and the Allens, and man, I'm looking back, I'm like, bruh, the game is in good hands. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to marvel over what they were able to do.
Now, I talked to you a second ago about how Auburn was one of the best college seasons of all time. Do you have a performance from that season that stands out to you where you were like, damn, I went off? Maybe against a rival or a school?
Something that a lot of people don't necessarily know. Early in that season, we was in a dogfight with Kentucky, right? And this just goes to show you about great coaching, Gus Malzahn, right? In that game, we went, I think, 90 yards to score a game-winning field goal. Well, we were up early where it was like I had a lot of touchdowns, whatever, but all that would have been for naught if we would have lost, right?
Right.
In that drive, it was like 4th and 4, or it was like a 3rd down, a 4th down, or something like that. And it was a risky call from coach, but we practiced it so much, right? And it was one of those things that as you're practicing it, we're never going to call it. But Coach Malzahn was so like, man, if we practicing it, we going to call it eventually. We called like this fake punt, and it was like Darvin Adams had ran like a non-stop back shoulder kind of stop route, hitch route, whatever you want to call it. And it was a bam bam type of play. You know, he called it on the sideline, cool. Well, fast forward to the Alabama game, we've done it and repped it so much that on that stage, we all were comfortable when they called it again. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So everybody's seeing the comeback as it to be it, right? But the truth of the matter is, going back to it has so many determining factors of success. So to that point, the good from it was we repped it before, and we did it, and we did it, and we did it. So now at that point in time where it was 4th quarter, 4th down and 3, you know, backs against the walls, boom. It's not even blinking. You just do it. And that's just something where it's like people don't understand like the level of consistency that success takes.
Preparation, all that.
Yeah. So
Auburn, SEC is such a crazy tradition. Was the pageantry of those Saturdays, did it ever potentially top NFL Sundays, like the overall atmosphere? I know you played in the Super Bowl, but games down south, I feel like it's a breed of its own.
Yeah, yeah. First off, SEC is not comparable. I think the closest thing to SEC football in any genre of football will be playoff football.
Mm-hmm.
I heard this analogy about the NFL from an actual player. It was like preseason don't count. It's just the hype building up. It's like a marketing ploy for the actual season.
Mm-hmm.
You will get your true fan support or like an emotion of what the NFL brings on opening day. Like everybody's excited, everybody's undefeated, on that time. So everybody's there. And if your team is not good, there is a span where it's about 6 to 10 games where nobody's really caring what you do, except for what's the final score. When you start getting into the playoff push in October, November, late October, November, that's when football really starts meaning something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Seeding, and then obviously the wild card and the playoff is unmatched. That intensity where every single play matters is something where it's unmatched. Well, in the SEC, it's like it doesn't matter if you playing Bleacher Report, Tech, House of Highlights University, they gonna show up every single day. And heaven forbid if your team is winning, even the more. Like from the alums to the boosters to the fans, you ain't got to question, those games being sold out on any given Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, college football just has a different energy about it. I mean, I visited Brody. He went to Michigan, and when I was at the Big House a few times with him, and I know he's shaking his head because he doesn't agree. He was there plenty of times, but at least when I was there, it was a completely different atmosphere than I've ever been a part of. You know what I mean? So college football to me, there's just like a certain level of like love that the fans have for it, or like alliance to the team that like you get in the NFL, but like not in the same way. I don't know how to explain it.
It's a rich emotion because there's so many people that can, like, as an NFL team, it's discretionary to who you want to go and pull for. And we all hear the bandwagon fans like, oh my God, I'm a so and so fan, so now I'm rooting for it. But just last week you were saying that you hate, but
right.
We all get those folks. But when you can tie it to an emotion, I'm a third generation Auburn alum. I'm a fourth generation. My great grandfather went to UGA or FSU. It's a little different.
Yeah.
And when you have that that badge of honor, so to speak, to represent your colors, that's something worth being proud for.
Yeah. Especially the cities and the states that don't have a pro sports team. It's like
Alabama.
Right. Exactly. So like these are my guys. You know what I mean? These are my heroes. So it's interesting in that way. Let's take it back to pre-draft, right? I read this yesterday when I was doing some research on you, and I remembered it from way back when. Is it true that the former Panthers owner, Jerry Richardson, he asked you to maintain your clean-cut look before the draft so that way he could draft you? What's the story behind that?
That's not true.
That's not true?
It was
okay.
No, it got going back to the media can make something.
Okay.
It was like you have to know a person to get the joke. You know what I'm saying? It was like, Cameron, this is him. Cameron, do you have any tattoos? I said, no, sir. He said, Cameron, do you have any piercings? I said, no, sir. He said, Cameron, do you have a clean shaven? I said, yes, sir. He said, we want to keep all those things that way. That's the only thing that he said. Me and Mr. Richardson's relationship was as pristine as any owner-player relationship, franchise owner-player relationship could be. I think for him, he was a person that I admired on so many different fronts as a business person that I can respect now, being, in the position that I'm like, having access to so many different groups, companies, and people are looking to you for direction, and seeing his, coming to, his success post playing football, it was something that was completely taken out of context when
Yeah.
It finally came out. So I think, it has some truth to it, but not as derogatory as a lot of people made it to seem.
Right.
But yeah.
That's why I'm glad I asked, because I read it. I was like, how,
Yeah.
like, obviously that could be taken a certain way. That's why I wanted to hear
Correct.
from the source, like what
Yeah.
exactly went down there. But that makes
For
more
sure.
sense, and I'm glad to know that you had a good relationship with him. That's
Mhm.
good. Now, 2015, you were the first black quarterback to win MVP since Steve McNair did it in 2003. That season, another one of the greatest seasons of all time. First you did Auburn, and then you did 2015, making it all the way to the Super Bowl. Who that season did you enjoy shitting on the most? Because everybody got it. But what team was it that you were just like, yeah, I did that? You know what I mean?
Um, I think the most viral one was the Tennessee situation.
Yeah,
Well, we
Where
need the
the
full
dude, it's
breakdown on
like,
that one.
bro, you're just going on House of Highlights. You're going on Bleacher Report, bro. Like, and you're about to be a meme. Like, but I had so much fun. And I think, look, my sole focus playing the game of football was to have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some people could relate to it, some people couldn't. And I just made an Instagram post, you know, last week where it's like, bro, you're not for everybody. As soon as you understand that, the better off you'll be. Like, I'm a perfect example of that. Like, somebody's gonna look at this and like, why is he dressing like that? Why the hell does he have his whole hair sticking out of his head? Who the hell does he think he is? Tom Brady would never. Peyton Manning would never. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Respectfully, it's
Of
like,
course.
yeah, it's so much of them that I wish I could have had. You know what I'm saying? A la a Super Bowl ring, but and there's a lot that I'm like, yo, bro, I'm me. You know what I mean? And as soon as personally as you can embrace that, it was just whatever. So going back to that game, it was like I was having so much fun. I had an opportunity to host my older brother because he went to TSU in Nashville, and he had kind of like a bros trip there, and it was like, man, I was really trying to stunt for the gang.
For the
You know what I'm
gang,
saying?
right?
Like
Of
for the
course.
y'all see what I did to this motherfucker? like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And I'm that type of person where it's like, bruh, you're making matters worse, and you're making it better for me. But yeah, it was just like I was just having fun, man.
This is not to mention, if they didn't want you to dance, they could have stopped you.
Could have.
But they
But the
couldn't.
best part about that was when he got into your face and then you just quickly hit it again.
It's like,
That's when you
like,
knew
what
you
are
were
you
on some
doing?
shit.
Like,
That was the best part of the
just take
video.
it. Just take it, bro. But it was I think that year, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first year the NFL was on watch for we have to ride this wave, right? Because for a long time, you couldn't celebrate a certain type of way.
Right.
Like we've seen the likes of Terrell Owens and Chad Ochocinco, Steve Smith take real thought into what they're going to do when they score, right? And some of it was frowned upon. Some of it was like, okay, cool, it is what it is. But now it's like you see the NFL now where a defense gets an interception and the whole team meets them down in the end zone. And I was like, well, Carolina 2015 team was the first team that was really linking up with everybody and just like, everybody getting in the picture.
Fun with
you
it.
feel me?
You were savvy though, because you would disrespect someone, but then you would just hand the ball to a little kid. So you got the best of both worlds.
But that was the part of the celebration.
Yeah.
We had what would we call it? Sunday giveaway. And we're gonna have a party in the end zone. That was just our mentality as, offensive players that year. And when you got the likenesses of TD, Luke, Charles Johnson, and that they were giving you opportunities, and that's all you can ask for any specific team. But giving kids the footballs was always kind of overlooked, because I do have a passion for children, in a way that it's like, man, I never had an opportunity to go to a game, growing up. And I only can imagine it cost me nothing, to give a kid a piece of the game.
Yeah.
and it be respected to the degree where it's like, man, he gonna remember this for the rest of his life. And I was just happy to have had those memorable moments.
That's right. Cam is for the kids. All right, Cam, I got a game for you, right? Because as much as we respect humility with athletes on this podcast, I got a game I want to start playing with somebody with a resume like yours. I like to call this one Talk Your Shit. I'm going to give you 60 seconds, and you got to try and name as many of your career accolades as you possibly can.
But how small?
Like according to Wikipedia,
petty. I could be like, man, I was all district,
I like everything. I'll take anything as small as it gets, like Pop Warner, Most Improved Player, anything.
Yeah, anything you got. Plus, according to Wikipedia, because we got a list here, and we're gonna see how much you can get off in 60 seconds.
Ooh.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a second to think.
Yep.
All right, Cam Newton, talk your shit.
First player overall. First. One of few quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks to play in the Super Bowl. Heisman Trophy winner.
The pressure's on.
Thor. Did I win a Thor? Maxwell Award winner.
Yep.
One of three at the time to have 50 touchdowns, responsible for 50 touchdowns. Only quarterback in the SEC at the time to rush for 1,000 yards ever.
Did he mention MVP?
O'Brien Award winner.
Yeah, O'Brien. No, he's missing a lot of big ones, but I think he's going to the deep cut ones. It's all good. Because I'm going to read them off anyway. You got 5 seconds.
And I probably hit your girl under messing with you.
It'd be an honor, sir.
Nah. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Nah. So what I got here, according to Wikipedia, NFL Most Valuable Player 2015, Offensive Player of the Year 2015, Offensive Rookie of the Year, First Team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, PFWA All-Rookie Team, Burt Bell Award winner, 2-time BCS National Champion, JUCO National Champion, Heisman Trophy, Maxwell Award winner, Walter Camp, Manning, Davey O'Brien, AP College Football Player of the Year, Sporting News College Player of the Year, Consensus All-American, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, First Team All-SEC, and 3 of your NFL records, most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 75, and most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season with 14. And lastly, most rushing attempts by a quarterback with 1,118. And you're number 2 in rushing yards, by the way. So
yeah, I could do number 2. That's pretty good.
I mean, it speaks for itself, Cam. You are a special talent.
Yeah, man, God. Hey, listen. For whoever sees this, half of those accolades happen in 365 days.
Yeah, that's a fact.
A lot of times people forget, like I was only at Auburn for 1 year. Right. So if it's for you, bro, it's for you. Can't nobody deny that from you. And a lot of times we kind of give up before the reward. And that's all part of God's plan, man. And I'm just lucky enough to have had unbelievable teammates to just get me to that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, appreciate that.
So, Cam, after football, you've made a real smooth transition into this media space. Was this something that you always envisioned for yourself in your career? Did you just happen to stumble upon it? Because when I'm watching your content, a lot of it doesn't have to do with sports at all, which is pretty refreshing to see to me. Like, I don't see a lot of NFL players just talking life.
Man, listen, bro. This is the first time in my life I could do whatever the fuck that I want to do, right? Like, straight up. Like, no cap. Like, for real. We've all been a puppet in some way, shape, form. And I could put out whatever I want to. You can't cancel me. You only can respect because I know my heart. I know where it's coming from. Now, there's been some things that I had said that blew out of proportion that I thought, but I still felt that you only took a segment out of that. And that's what the media does, right? But I know when it comes to giving a damn about certain things, nobody really cares like I do. You know, giving back to the community. I don't share half of much of the things that I do because it's a real emotion for me. Being able to produce great content. I have an unbelievable team here at Iconic Saga, and just folks that's just flooding my phone, just like, bro, we should do this, we should do that. I'm like, okay. And then I also am able to bounce back ideas and say, hey, can we do this? How can we do that? So I think I want to be, the person that, like I said, evolves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything changes. I always told everybody that was close to me, I do not want to be a sports analyst when I get done playing football, right? And who knows? Who says I'm done? I don't know. I haven't retired yet, but at the same time, it's like, bro, I want to be able to put myself in position to do whatever the hell I want to do. And that's really the ultimate goal. And to get paid doing it, it's even better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With that being said, hey, man, if you're watching this, subscribe to my YouTube, like, subscribe, all that. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Now, have you ever, once you've officially closed that door on football, you ever thought about, doing something like acting, TV, movies, stuff like that? Just because I got a fan casting right now, I want to run by you.
Man, listen, if it makes sense, when you talk about Shaq, these are all players, people, athletes that I admire, and personalities, the Shaqs of the world, Snoop Dogg's. Like, they gonna do them, you feel me? And even like one of my peers, Marshawn Lynch, it's like, bro, he killing it right now, you feel me? And it's like, if it makes sense for me to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Acting, speaking on certain topics, cool. But I just always try to put myself in that space so I could be the best version for it,
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, this is the first time I don't got no strings attached to me, so I could do whatever I want. Now, it's very risky because, you can lose yourself, but with the help of my team, they're able to kind of direct me in a way that it's like, okay, Cam, this is you, or this is us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you want to make sure that, you're doing the best, or you're producing the best quality of work that you possibly can do, so.
You got to have good people around you. But I was going to say, because, you've been Superman your whole career, but, this new DC universe, maybe you could be Cyborg. I mean, he was a quarterback before he was in the Justice League with Superman and Batman and them boys. So James Gunn, if you're listening,
Say it again.
Cyborg.
Cyborg. That's a real character?
It's a real character. He's a black dude. He's half man, half robot. He was a football player, quarterback, and then he became Cyborg after, accident and all that stuff. So, I mean, if anybody's watching this and wants to do a fan edit, make Cam Newton Cyborg so we could see what it would look like.
Did he have dreads?
I mean, I don't think so, but it's multiverse, and he could grow them out.
Anything can happen. We definitely gonna look into it for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, I got one last game I want to play with you before we get out of here.
Okay.
Now, I already told you where you fall on this list, but I want you to tell us the top 10 quarterbacks with the most rushing yards of all time.
Okay.
No time limit on this one. Let's just see if you can get it.
I just seen the list.
You just seen the list. Well, whatever.
Perfect.
Somebody tag me in it.
Well, let's see if you can remember it.
One I was surprised about, Aaron Rodgers. He's in that top 10 list.
That's right. He's number 9.
Is Tarkenton?
Hey, little man.
Yeah. Fran Tarkenton, number 7.
Wheels.
Yep. Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick, Ace Boogie, Donovan McNabb.
And Donovan McNabb. Yeah. Quick. Wait, did you say Russell Wilson?
You said Russell Wilson.
No, I think he's missing one more too.
Now I said Russell Wilson.
Now he said Russell Wilson.
I think he's
Russell
missing
Wilson
one
number
more
3. He
too.
right behind you. I brought him up earlier.
No, I mentioned Steve Young. Steve McNair.
There you
go. Steve McNair, rest in peace.
Well, Cam, we appreciate you sitting down with us, man. It looks like you almost done with that cigar, so it's time to wrap it up. But yo, man, we've been big fans for a really long time. One of the coolest to ever do it. One of the most talented, most athletic to ever do it. We appreciate you, man. And whenever you get some time, just send me and Brody some hats.
Man, you just got to send me the hat size, bro. You feel me? And then we're gonna start rocking and rolling, man. But it's Mashika hats based in Montana, Bozeman, Montana, or Venice Beach. So whoever's there, we'll make it from scratch for you. You feel me? And you really start seeing how I got bit by the bug of creativeness, and when you see it start out in just simple felt and it finish like this, it's something that you'll be amazed about. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Broadcast Boys Show. Cam Newton graced us with his presence, with a stogie and one of his favorite hats. We love Cam Newton, one of the best to ever do it. What a good guy. How insightful was he, Brody?
That was always my favorite player. Everyone said to never take a quarterback #1 in fantasy, but I really didn't give a fuck. Just wanted the aura and wanted the energy, and he delivered.
Broadcast Boys Show. Like and subscribe. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Because what the hell else are you doing? All love, top to bottom. You already know what it is. Peace.